All right, players. Before we press start on today's episode, it's time to give a big retro shout out to our top tier supporters, keeping the pixels glowing and the cartridges clean. At the 64-bit Legend tier, these are the final bosses of support. Much love to Oriok, Zero, and Mr. Arkansas. Over in the 16-bit Adventurer tier, our heroic party includes Tetrafali, Gage P, and Marcus Q. You're powering us up big time. And at the 8-bit Explorer tier, give it up for the classic crew. Wobeeyert, Werkun Warden, Gaming Quarterly, and Big Nick Dika. Keeping it old school and awesome. You legends are the cheat code to keeping this show running. Thank you all for your incredible support. I'll keep grinding to bring you content worthy of your high scores. Now grab your controller, hit that start button, and let's jump into the episode.
Hey there! Welcome to Retro Reloaded. I'm your host Lance, and each week I tackle a retro game shaped by your picks. If you want a chance to choose next week's game or unlock exclusive bonus episodes and polls, join me on Patreon at patreon.com/retroreloaded. There's even a free tier to dip your toes in. Big thanks for all of your love and support. It means the world to me. Now let's hit the start button and reload those retro vibes.
Dragon's Lair, the fantasy adventure where you become a valiant knight on a quest to rescue the fair princess from the clutches of an evil dragon. You control the actions of a daring adventurer finding his way through the castle of a dark wizard who has enchanted it with treacherous monsters and obstacles.
History of Dragon's Lair. Released in arcades in 1983, Dragon's Lair was a groundbreaking title developed by Cinematronics and designed by Rick Dyer, with animation by Don Bluth. Unlike traditional sprite-based arcade games, it ran off Laserdisc technology, delivering full-motion animation that made it feel like a playable cartoon. Its visuals set it apart from everything else at the time. Though its brutal, quick-time event-style gameplay was notoriously unforgiving. Despite this, it became a phenomenon in arcades, spawning sequels, spin-offs, and countless ports across nearly every console generation. Plot of Dragon's Lair. Players step into the role of Dirk the Daring, a bumbling but brave knight who ventures into the evil wizard Mordrok's castle to rescue Princess Daphne. The journey takes players through trap-laden halls, fiery caverns, and monstrous encounters. Every decision and timed move determines whether Dirk triumphs or dies in comically dramatic fashion. The simple damsel in distress story was elevated by the game's cinematic presentation.
All right, guys, with all of that out of the way, we got two special guests. You might have heard of them before. They're actually both, funny enough, retro wardens in the Discord, which is kind of ironic. It's Wobeeyert. Welcome back to the show, buddy.
Hey, Lance. Nice to be back.
And then we got Sunnyside, a.k.a. SummersetBanjo. Welcome back.
Hey, I'm glad to be back.
So we kind of got an interesting game today. I think it's the oldest game that we've ever done on Retro Reloaded. I can't actually, I'm pretty sure. I almost know, like 99% sure this is the oldest game we've done. And this game is Dragon's Lair. Did you both play it this week, or?
Sure did.
I have not. It's been a few years, but when I did play through Dragon's Lair 2, and Space Ace, probably about 5 years ago on the Wii port of it.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, there was a Wii port.
Yeah, I heard about the Wii port. Is the game like identical on the Wii port, or what?
The Wii port. The Wii port was the first port of the game after Dragon's Lair's animation got an HD remaster, and so it's higher quality. And they did add in a few quality of life features, like that you can like toggle on or off. Like you can have up to like 99 lives, and you can have like on-screen prompts on which ways to go if you need them and stuff, and a couple of other things. They also had like a randomizer mode, which randomizes each room that you end up in to make it, the experience completely different each time you play. But yeah.
Okay.
Question: is it not already randomized? Like I've never seen the arcade cabinet as the thing, but when I played through, I swore it was randomized. But it's again probably just the remaster. I didn't realize it was on.
Well, technically, I think it was possible to toggle it as randomized all the way back in the arcade, but that's like one of those switches you would have to switch in like the back of the hardware and stuff. But there is actually a linear mode for the game that actually is like has a specific layout through the castle, so that way if you know which way you're going, there is a specific route that you can several different specific routes that you can go through.
Okay. By the way, Lance, yeah, this would be the oldest one.
Yeah, it's 1983.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is older.
I was gonna say, like, what is the oldest one other than that I played? Would it be like, sheesh?
Maybe, no, because Ocarina of Time came out after that, didn't it?
Yeah, and Ocarina of Time came out in 1998.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, 98.
When was Silent Hill?
Ooh, 99.
Yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, we haven't. Oh, I'm sorry. I was going to say Final Fantasy VII came out in '97, but you actually haven't covered it. I added it to the list in my head. Oh, okay.
That's so funny. It's like I've mentioned the game so much that it's just like assumed that I played it.
I did. I thought it was part of the roster, but I guess it's actually not.
So it's just a running joke so far. That's so fun. Yeah, maybe Ocarina of Time. I can't really think of anything else that came before that, and that's not that old. I mean, for a retro podcast, we did Gauntlet, we did Tales of Symphonia. Those are all newer.
X,
yes, Mega Man X.
I think X is the oldest because Gauntlet Dark Legacy was PS2 era.
Yes, and then I did
between X and Comic Zone, and I don't remember the dates for those.
I did do Donkey Kong Country 2, but X came out first, I'm pretty sure. So
yeah, pretty sure X was first. Actually, 98 was StarCraft. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's X.
And X was 91, 2? 3? No, 3. I want to say 3. It's got to be 3,
because
right?
92 was the original release of Link to the Past.
Yeah.
No, Link's Awakening.
Okay. Yeah, so this is definitely by far the oldest, almost by 10 years, really, that we've done on the show, which is kind of cool. It's really cool that we're getting so into the older generations of stuff. I won't be surprised if people submit some more older stuff in the future. But, there's a lot of big titles that happened in the 90s, so I think that's a big era for gaming when it comes to retro gaming, at least nowadays. I had this discussion, and I know this is a little bit unrelated to Dragon's Lair. I had this discussion with the guys over at Video Game Happy Hour. They asked me a question like, what is considered retro? And everybody's answer was kind of a little bit different. Like, what is kind of the retro for you guys?
I would make the argument that anything could be considered retro if it's 20 years or older.
Okay.
I find retro to be more of something that is... So it's okay. Bear with me on this one. It's kind of more... You can follow the roots back to it.
Okay.
Like, as far as hardware is concerned, I'm starting to consider the Wii more retro. It's kind of on the verge of that, but everything before that feels pretty retro because they kind of they were evolutions, yes, but they're more stepping stones to where we're at now. Like if you take a GameCube game and you measure it against a game that we have now, they're polarizingly different. If you take a Wii game and then a game we have now, there's a little less of a difference because we got like VR and such, but that's neither here nor there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Obviously for the sake of the show, we kind of have this 15-year gap that, is kind of arbitrary. It's not really like, it's not really a number that's like scientific, it's just like 15 years sounds kind of old, it's like an old game.
Yeah.
However, like when I think of retro, I think it's like the PS2 era is really like the GameCube, like you said, is kind of like really it's like the oldest, newest era. And what I mean by that is like, I don't really know if a lot's happened between PS2 and like today's gaming. You know, it feels kind of like, yeah, excuse me. The graphics are different. Like they're an upgrade, but it doesn't feel revolutionary is what I meant. Maybe maybe the Wii was kind of that, but you know, other than that, you know,
I'd say the Wii's kind of in its own form of retro, but like as a pair to agree with what you're saying, basically, I don't consider PS3 retro at all, like at all. But everything before, like PS2, PS1, yes. When you look at Wii U, I don't consider that retro. Xbox is kind of just lumped into this whole thing. I don't consider 360 retro.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that generation forward doesn't really apply to retro. I kind of think even those in like 10 years will be more like retro modern or its own kind of subcategory.
And you know what? Yeah, that could be interesting. And you know what else I think is that it really depends on your age. Like I noticed the older, like people who are older will say things are retro that are like much older. For example, like I was talking to some of those guys on the Video Game Happy Hour podcast, and they're a bit. Most of them are a bit older than me, like at least 2 out of the 3, and their opinions was like I think only stuff from like SNES back. So it wasn't even like PS1 era, like the 3D graphics. Like a lot of it was just like Super Nintendo and backwards. So that was retro to them. But then there's a guy my age, and I think he saw Shadow of the Colossus. He's like, yeah, that's retro for sure. Look at the graphics on that, you know, compared to like nowadays. And so I think it really depends on your age, because it's you know, if you were born in, let's say 2000, then you were born at like the time that the PS1 came out, basically. You know, that's your whole life. You know,
yeah, that's wild.
That's like your entire life. So to you, it would be pretty retro. Like the PS1 2 would be pretty retro. You know, and then the SNES, the PS1 is like super retro, right? Because you weren't even alive. So it's like that's it feels old. It feels really old when you're that young. So, and I remember
another thing to bag onto that is weird for being millennials and being like in your 30s now, because we were at a time when we remember dial-up internet, but we didn't use it a whole lot. And like we were during the generation where games didn't get updates, and we kind of saw the evolution firsthand. And now people are born that are adults now that were born in times where like everything was entirely different from the landscape that we were raised on. Wild.
Yeah.
I think we had dial-up internet until maybe around 2005, 2006.
Yeah. Okay. So you had a late bloom. I did too. I think I got DSL in 2004. So, you know, which is kind of crazy. And I had DSL for a while, and then I finally got like Comcast internet in 2006, 7, something like that. And I paid with it when I was working at Taco Bell, so I paid with it my own money. I bought my own computer. I felt super fancy. I was like, wow, like I felt rich because I bought my own computer and stuff from Taco Bell. It was a good time.
But a little unrelated to like the episode we're talking about, but do you guys remember the first install, like when you first installed Wi-Fi?
Yes, I do.
Game changing.
Yeah, we got our first Wi-Fi router. I think it was like 2008, because
I was going to say 07, 08, something like that. It was wild.
Yeah. And that was, I think part of it was because I wanted to actually play one of my Wii games online, because I had a
classic
Wii.
Sonny.
Yeah. And,
same though.
Yeah, and so I eventually convinced my parents to get a Wi-Fi router, and then I can't remember what happened, but eventually we had to discard that Wi-Fi router. We still have it somewhere in a box. I'm not sure if it'd be any good anymore, given how much technology's progressed, but I know that I think what happened was the DSL was burning out, because the modem for it was not properly manufactured all that well, and so it kept like overheating.
I just figured Sonny was downloading too much WiiWare games.
Ooh,
just overheating that thing.
He's downloading those special WiiWare ones. Bad, Sonny, bad.
Well, funny enough, when the Wii was shutting down, like probably about what was that, like 4 or 5 years ago at this point, when they were finally shutting down the Wii Shop channel for
Okay.
about a month.
Was that 2020?
It might have been 2020. I don't know. It's like passage of time
Yikes.
blurs together for me. Might have been like 2019, 2018.
Yeah, I think it was around there. Wow.
Yeah, but during that time when they were shutting down the Wii's shop stuff, I probably spent about 2-3 months where it was just like every day doing nothing but spending money, purchasing different like WiiWare and virtual console games onto my Wii. It was even to the point that like my bank account got flagged because they thought somebody might have stolen my identity because I was spending so much. I got a call from the bank. Are you aware of these? It's like, yes, because
Yes, I'm aware. I'm a nerd.
That's so funny.
Yeah. In hindsight, given emulation and stuff, I probably should not have spent like so much of my money on that. But hey, it's all saved on the hard drive of my Wii. So
There you go.
if I want to,
That's worth money.
Yeah.
Now you can play your games without Nintendo suing you. So congratulations.
mhm.
I mean,
I mean, they
I'm
still
sure they'll find a way.
they still might sue you for something. Who
They'll
knows?
find a way.
They'll be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you said something bad about one of our games? Lawsuit."
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah. So and the funny thing is, the disk drive on my Wii does not work anymore. It burnt out for reason. And so, yeah, but the hard drive still works, and it's chock full of games. And one time when I was trying to get the disk drive fixed, I had to tell like the repair people, like, whatever you do, don't break the hard drive on this thing because I have a whole bunch of WiiWare and Virtual Console games saved on this thing.
That guy was thinking about making your body disappear.
All right. So yeah, let's get back to the main topic. Well, I mean, I love talking about this stuff, but we should just do some more stories on side quests or something. I would love, I love talking about this stuff. I could talk about it for hours, but I know
Yeah, with a Nerd Odyssey. Just do a Friday night banter or something.
Yeah, and there we go. Yeah, maybe Friday night banter. Is that what they do over there?
Nerd Odyssey.
Okay.
So they announced the villains list.
Yeah.
Oh.
We could do a quest episode on nothing, just like WiiWare and Wii Shop channel, and maybe another one just talk about what is retro and how we define it. That's 2 episodes right there we could do.
Yeah, awesome. Those are good ideas. I'm gonna write those down. So with Dragon's Lair, when everyone thinks about Dragon's Lair, there's a name that comes up, and it's inescapable. And you guys probably already know who I'm talking about. It's a name that always pops up all the time when we talk about Dragon's Lair, and that is Mr. Don Bluth, right?
The GOAT.
Yes.
The big name in animation. This guy, I had
Legend.
before I played Dragon's Lair, I had no idea who this guy really was. Yeah, I know. Don't put me on don't crucify me. But this guy is a legendary animator. Like, I didn't know he worked on all these amazing titles, like Secret of Nim, American Tail, Land Before Time, All Dogs Go to Heaven, Rock-a-Doodle-Doo, Troll in Central Park.
Dude.
Like, this guy is on everything, man. Like, he was he animated everything in the 90s, like and 80s and 70s. He's like everybody's childhood animator at this point. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well,
little
one
side
thing
things. You go ahead.
Yeah, one of the funny things is he also had a very long career at Disney beforehand.
Yep.
I mean, he was like one of the people that was in charge of Disney's Robin Hood, which was also very influential in its own right.
Yeah, man. Do you guys have a favorite
Such influential movies that my sister has one of the actual stills, 2 of the stills from All Dogs Go to Heaven.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
And it was The Secret of Nim that Dick Ryer saw, and he went, because he had the idea of Dragon's Lair, he's like, this guy.
Yeah.
Wow.
This guy's going to be the
Yeah. So I guess this would probably be a good segue to kind of go into a little bit about the development of Dragon's Lair, about how it came to be.
Before we do that, I'm going to mention a couple more titles real quick.
Sure.
Hit me.
Yeah, so Titan AE, you guys remember that one?
God.
Underrated, dude. That game. That I'm so mad that movie didn't do as well as it did. It's so good.
It was so good.
Anastasia.
Yep. That's the
Um,
big one I always hear.
and then Pete's Dragon. Like, do you get Fox and the Hound?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's right.
And then obviously you mentioned Robin Hood and Sleeping Beauty. Like
Yep.
he was. That's old, dude. That's 1959. I didn't realize how old that film was until I saw that. I was like, that is an
He's
old
been around
film.
for a long time.
Just amazing stuff. Just incredible. But if you want to talk a little bit about the development, go ahead.
Okay. Oh, one other film that he was, of course, involved with was Land Before Time, and he also ended up doing the first Ice Age movie before he left the project.
Oh, okay.
Five Goes West.
Bible Goes West.
My
So
favorite
good.
one.
So good. American Tail. So
My
good.
favorite one of the list.
Yeah.
Okay, so a little bit of development history about Dragon's Lair is that there was this guy. I think Wob already mentioned him, and I think his name was Rick Dreyer.
Rick Dreyer.
Yes, and he ran a company called RDI Video Systems, and it was a kind of a company that got founded in like the late 70s and stuff, and he was inspired by a video game called Colossal Cave Adventures, or Adventure as it was called back at the time.
Love that.
And he wanted to do his own version of that. And so he worked on a project that was called, I believe he called
Lost Woods?
Yes.
The Lost Woods, I think?
Yeah, it was called Secret of the Lost Woods.
Oh, that's it, yeah.
Yeah, and he was going to have it run on something he was calling the Fantasy Machine, because it would basically fulfill all your fantasies when it comes to having like a grand adventure and stuff. And
first one.
Yeah. And originally, the Fantasy Machine went through several different iterations. Like originally, it was like a machine that was about like the size of like one of those printers that would print receipt paper, and it would like print out the text and like an illustration of it. But and so for a while, that was the form that Secret of the Lost World, Lost Forest, and or Woods. I can't remember what it's called. That was the form that originally took, but investors weren't interested in it. So then he reworked it into a different kind of machine that would like display the graphics and text in a different way. And that didn't work out for a while because, one reason was he was dissatisfied with how computer graphics looked, because this is early 80s, so computer graphics are very primitive. And eventually he settled on filming like the different like scenes and stuff and have text go along with it. And he put it onto like a machine that would play video cassettes. And of course that was still pretty cutting edge, like, even in the early 80s, because video cassettes had not been around that long. But the problem is when you do all these different actions, it would have to like jump around to different parts of the film strip. And so even then it wasn't exactly as fun as it probably sounded on paper. And Rick Dreyer, he kept trying to promote this game, promote this machine and stuff, and he was just not really getting too much progress. And what happened was he went to a arcade convention. I think it was like the AOEM. It was like some sort of conference for different arcade makers and the like. And at the convention, this was like in 1982, there was a presentation by Sega for a arcade machine called Astron Belt, and it was like promoting like real time 2D graphics and full motion video and stuff like that. And how they were able to make it all work is they used Laserdisc technology. And Rick Dreyer was like, "Yes, that is how we can make this work. We can use like Laserdisc technology to make what I want to make work." But the problem is, even though they switched over to Laserdisc tech and stuff, they still could not really find people that would be interested in it. and eventually kind of came to the. In fact, there was like this one presentation where he was trying to promote The Secret of the Lost Woods, where the people like walked out and
actually walked out. Oh, okay, good. I was gonna mention that. Yeah, it was the Ideal Toy Company. They were doing their pitch, and they straight up just walked out in the middle of his presentation.
They walked out.
They walked out on him.
That's so rude, man. That's so rude.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, at least stay and entertain it. At least be like, yeah, okay,
right?
like just don't walk out. You don't be like, nah. I mean, people are ruthless, man.
That's just the business world's cutthroat, man.
They just don't care. We don't got time for this. Wow.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, and so and then after that disaster of a presentation, he saw Secret of NIMH, and Dreyer kind of got the idea. Yeah, he got the idea that this is the guy that we need to make this work, to make the game seem more exciting, have the right visual style for it, and he also kind of came to the conclusion that part of the reason why investors were interested, people found the story of the Secret of the Lost Woods boring. Just wasn't all that interesting.
What's the difference?
He felt like Don Bluth. What's
the difference between Dragon's Lair and the Secret of the Lost Woods?
The Secret of the Lost Woods is more of like a big overarching story thing.
Yeah,
it was okay.
It was like choose your own adventure.
It was a bigger narrative design, you would say. Like it was much bigger story.
It was just a lot less linear. And then when you saw The Secret of NIMH, and then you got Bluth on, they kind of had more of an idea of a direction. They went with Dirk Danger, and they decided, let's just make him like really masculine looking and buff look and like handsome jawline, but he's like clumsy and a bit dumb.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny enough with Princess Daphne. They got their inspiration, and this is not a joke. They got the inspiration on how to like animate Princess Daphne from Playboy magazines.
Yeah,
understandably so. Because when I saw that character,
we'll get there.
Yeah,
trust me, we'll get there, Lance. I got a whole plot. I got a whole point written in my notes.
I was going to say that she might be part of the reason the game was as successful as it was. To be honest,
yeah, probably was.
Yeah.
So he got in touch with Bluth and stuff, and Bluth was interested, but hard to get. Part of the deal that he had to make to get Don Bluth come on board, he was willing to sell a third of the ownership of Dragon's Lair to Don Bluth.
Okay.
So there would be like a straight up business partnership.
Right.
Also, Bluth also agreed that Secret of the Lost Woods was just, too big and too kind of dolly presented. And so Dreyer decided. I'm sorry, I keep mispronouncing.
Okay, I messed it up. It was my fault.
Yeah, Rick Dyer.
I called it wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Decided to basically pare down the story to essentially what was once a minor side quest within Secret of Lost Woods, which is going to the Dragon's Lair. And so he took this one little side quest. It was like, let's make the whole game based on this one little side quest that we had in Secret of the Lost Woods. And originally the partnership was three-way. It was going to be RDI Video Systems, who was going to handle like the programming, the writing, and like the concept arts. Bluth's company was going to do like the animation, where they would take the concept arts and like the storyboards and animate it. And then I think there was a third company that was called Cinematronics that was going to handle the distribution of the game. And both Cinematronics and the Don Bluth company, both of them got a third ownership of the game. So it was like divided up into threes.
Right.
And so there was going to be a big, huge conference in about 16 weeks, which was going to basically make or break the development of the game, because any potential people that was going to invest in this company, in this project, was going to be at this conference. And so Bluth's company had like only 16 weeks to crunch to make a vertical slice of Dragon's Lair to present at this conference. And right away, the partnership ended up changing, because when Rick Dyer started sending Bluth's company, like the storyboards and concept designs and the early script for Dragon's Lair, Bluth felt like it still had the same problems as Secret of the Lost Woods, where the characters just looked very generic and the story was very dully presented. And so there was several like heated discussions between Bluth and Dyer, but Bluth but Bluth was able to convince Dyer to essentially allow Bluth and his team to essentially start from scratch, rewrite the script, rewrite the story, and come up with all the character designs themselves.
Excellent, adjusting my audio there. So yeah, it's very interesting story. It sounds like there was a lot of complications in the process, but they finally got it together.
Yes, they did, and so they were able to crunch for 16 weeks to get that get a vertical slice of it ready.
Yeah,
and they presented it at the conference,
right? And
it was such a showstopper that they like pre-sold. It was like something along the lines of 3,500 arcade units.
Yeah,
which was more than enough to pay for all the remaining costs of production and construction and pretty much everything else, really.
Just to transition over for the last point I wanted to bring up, I love that for the shoestring budget they had, they could only get like 2 people for voice acting, and one of them was like the head of their cleanup department who plays Princess Daphne.
Yeah.
That's it. They're just like, hey guys, a lot of the voices and stuff were done in house because they were just like, we can't afford voice actors.
Let's talk about the voices for a second. We got a lot of the development in the background, and we kind of understand kind of what mostly happened with Dragon's Lair. But there's a lot to talk about. So let's talk about the voices. The voices are
thereof.
So I love. First of all, I'll start with Dirk, okay? Because there's only really 2 voices in this thing. It's Dirk and Princess Daphne. Dirk, I love the screams, man. I love his little his little screams.
Wow!
Yeah,
I love them.
They're so funny, and they're like so like. It just reminds me of maybe like a cartoon from that era or something. But he just
perfect.
They're just great little screams that even though he's not like a professional voice actor, he did a really good job, I think.
Yeah, that guy is Dan Molina, and he was one of the editors that worked at Bluth's company, and he's most famous for being the film editor for the Disney film Chicken Little.
Oh, right, and he had a small voice role in Ice Age, I think.
Okay, wow, so he went on to do some good stuff then, pretty much. Like some
most
big
of these guys probably did pretty well.
Yeah.
I like that he's actually technically only credited with 2 lines, though, because Dirk only really says 2 words, which one's like, oh no, and then the other one's just, wow, at the end. But all the grunts and stuff,
Yeah, he does a lot of little noises and stuff, and he's a lot of screaming, a lot of like falling. Like at one point, he's like falling down like an elevator in one of the death sequences, and he's like, wow, wow. And I just like, that one made me laugh. I was like, why was that the scream? Why did you do that one?
It was awesome.
It was just awesome.
And then we get to the second voice actor, and they just made her the most sultry, breathy, like sex symbol voice, and it's just hilarious. Okay,
so you hear her kind of talk a little bit throughout the game, but you don't really hear her talk a lot until the last sequence. And, she'll say, baby, or like, help me. And then like,
me.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, that was actually pretty good. That was a pretty good imitation. And then you get to the final like bit, and she's talking about like, you have to slay the dragon. And dude, I lost it, bro. I was laughing. I was like, dude,
I died so many times in the last scene because I was laughing. She's like, you have to get the key from the dragon's neck. And she like puts her finger on her lips, and she's like, the magic sword to kill the dragons over there. And it's like, it's so funny.
Yeah. I kept on saying, like, I was doing it on stream. I was like, why does she say it like that? Why is she saying it like? You could tell it was somebody who had just been like thrown on the project. They weren't a professional voice actor. You could totally tell. And I think it actually adds character to Daffy.
It does.
You know, because it's unique. It's like a unique, way of voice acting in a way, because it's so amateur and so like comedic. It makes it good. Like it's so bad that it's good.
It's so bad it's good. Yeah, it's over the top in the right ways. It's like a Sharknado, Like it's terrible, but you're like, oh yeah, this is what I want.
Exactly. Like if it's just kind of bad, then it's just like, oh man, it's just bad voice acting. But it's like so bad that it actually works, for this game, because the game is like comedy. The game is pretty much comedy, so it fits perfectly right into the scenario.
10 out of 10 voice work on this one from me.
Yeah. One of the cool things about this game is it actually I mentioned the Astron Belt game.
Astro Belt?
Astron Belt, the Sega game.
Oh, it is Astron. I always read that wrong. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That I talked about, it kind of inspired the direction for Dragon's Lair. Well, the cool things is Dragon's Lair actually, when it got done, it actually beat Astron Belt to the punch. And I believe Dragon's Lair thus ended up being the first Laserdisc arcade machine.
Oh, hey, that's something I wanted to add on. That's a good point. So with a game like this, one thing that I realized is just how integral it actually... Okay, it's not the most well-known arcade game, right? But if you look at what it is, it's one of those reaction-based games. And you can kind of follow the stepping stones from here to see how it led us to games like Telltale Walking Dead's Life is Strange, like interactive movie things like Dead, what is it? Until Dawn. Oh my God. But like, it's kind of cool seeing how it goes from old style movie interactive thing to like full on interactive movie nowadays, like Detroit Become Human,
Yeah.
And like, it's really cool to see where that started. And not to mention, they had to start it with Don Bluth, man. Right? It's beautiful.
You know what I think it actually reminded me of, funny enough, was, and I think maybe this is like an ancient inspiration, is Dance Dance Revolution. It kind of reminded me of that.
That's fair.
Only because it's like, okay, you're like hitting the arrows when you're supposed to hit the arrows, and it's like Dance Dance Revolution. It's like basically the same idea with your feet. It's like you got to kind of hit the arrow. Obviously, you don't die in that game, but...
Okay, now I want to see somebody like...
Eat it with a dance pad?
Modify a DDR machine to play Dragon's Lair.
Yeah.
And like sync up the buttons to the dance pad. I want to see somebody try to do that.
You could.
You know what? Funny enough, I could probably find a guy to make a step file with the interactive movie in the background. Like, it wouldn't be interactive, but it would just respond to the steps. Funny enough.
You totally could do it.
Yeah. Like, man, Dance Dance Revolution, people don't give that thing enough credit. Nobody remembers it now unless it's just in passing like this. But that game made huge waves in the video game industry when it came out.
Oh yeah, it was a massive game.
I remember it was like huge when I was a kid.
Yeah, I loved it. I played it. I had a good time with it. Just for people to clarify, like the reason I'm relating it, if just to visualize for people who haven't played Dragon's Lair. In this game, there's a pad, and it's like it's got up, down, left, right. You got arrows, and then you got one button for attack. And so you have to press the buttons at the right time in each sequence. And if you miss a button press, you're dead. It's pretty unforgiving. Like you don't get to miss a button press, pretty much. And so that's why I kind of related to Dance Dance Revolution, is because you have these arrow pads, and then you have to just time it really, really fast. It's a reaction-based game, and it's very unforgiving. And so, out of curiosity, how did you guys play this game? Did you play it on PC? Did you play like a certain version of it?
Well, for me, how I first learned about the game was back in the early 2000s. I heard about... I saw a trailer for the Dragon's Lair 3D game for the GameCube, and I told my dad about it, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's Dragon's Lair, the arcade. I used to see it all the time when because he used to play arcades a lot in the early 80s." Right. And so even though I never actually got Dragon's Lair 3D, the trailer for it like stuck in my mind. And so when years later, when I had a Wii and they actually did like a compilation called Dragon's Lair Trilogy, which included Dragon's Lair, Space Ace, and Dragon's Lair 2, I recognized what it was right away, and so I bought it. And then, of course, years later, I got Dragon's Lair 3D. But yeah, that's how I played it. Was on the Wii.
Okay, and I'm guessing there's really not a lot of difference between the game on the Wii versus like the arcade port, or
Big differences.
big differences. Okay,
Yeah, I got mine on the Xbox. I got the trilogy on my Xbox.
yeah,
Now I was hoping that my arcade stick would work because I have a Razer Atrox, but it just doesn't register, which I was a little disappointed on. So I just played it with a controller. But in the remaster ones, there's like some options to pick from. For some reason on the Xbox One, you can only pick a maximum of 5 lives though.
okay,
But then you can do arcade setting, home setting, where arcade is like when you die, you just skip to the next scene. Where home setting is you don't progress to the next scene unless you complete the room.
okay.
And then there's like there's more forgiving decision making times. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know until quite some time ago that you weren't supposed to have the arrows show up on screen, I think.
That's
So I kind of played it the easy way, I guess.
the arrows. Wait, it's not supposed to highlight an arrow for you?
Is it? I don't know. I don't think in the original arcade it did. Did it, Sonny?
I don't think in the original arcade it did. I think that was an addition that they added to like the Wii and Xbox ports.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's something you can toggle on and off. Now that said, the arcade version does occasionally like highlight.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I mean there is going to be some things that actually does like flash yellow, but not every room does that. So
Yeah, I
it's
thought
kind
so.
of like
That's horrible.
So-
Because I actually learned about the game from Family Guy, where he's like, "Well, no, that's just like the time I beat the Dragon's Lair, and it's just Peter as Dirk Danger." And I was like, "What is this? This looks like a video game." And then I looked into it, and it's called Dragon's Lair.
That's horrible. I can't. Okay, so
I can't imagine without prompts, dude.
So I played the trilogy version, which is, I'm guessing, the remaster version of the game.
Yep.
And I played arcade mode, so if I failed a scene, then it would go to the next scene. But I wasn't playing with I didn't have like a number of lives. Technically, I didn't. Like the game kept going because it never like ended. Like there was never like a game over. It just like basically if I messed up a scene, it would come back to that scene later on in the game, and it would have me retry it. And if I messed it up again, it would come back to it later on, and like it would just have me retry it over and over and over until I finally like beat the scene. And so
Question.
Yeah.
Did you guys play the same scenes like a lot of times in your playthroughs, or did I just have a weird run? Because I swear I went through the same rooms like just mirrored.
Yep.
I must have done that falling scene like 5 times.
Yeah.
Some rooms in the arcade are mirrored. That is an actual like an intentional thing that sometimes rooms are mirrored and you go through them more than once. But like I said, I played the trilogy version, which gave you the option to play through the game like in like a linear fashion. Like each of the rooms are set and not randomized. So yeah, I mean, I did play through some of the rooms again, especially if I died. But yeah, there is like some rooms that are the same, but they're mirrored.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah,
It's an old animation trick, it makes perfect sense.
I think they just did it to increase the length of the game. Probably it was probably too short with just the one side, so they mirrored the sides. And yeah, so you play the same levels, and when they're mirrored, like the button inputs will be kind of opposite. Like instead of left, you're going to press right. Instead of right, you're going to press left. So you do play some of the same stuff. Now that I know that you don't get the arrow keys in the arcade version, because I think I'm going to, at the end of this episode, I'm going to give the game a rating based on what I played and based on what I would think it would have been in the arcade. And I never played the actual arcade version, but I'm telling you, it's going to be a different rating because this game.
Oh yeah.
Let's just go over the arcade version, like kind of like hypothetically here. I heard it was infamous for eating your quarters. It was infamous for just taking all your money, and it would just felt really unfair. people had a really hard time with it. People said it was more fun to watch than it was to play because
it's one of my bad points, actually.
Yeah.
In fact, at the time, it was noteworthy for being one of the most expensive arcades out there because it would actually charge you 50 cents instead of just 25.
That's criminal.
Yeah, 50 cents back in the 80s
with
is
inflation. Could you imagine?
It's probably like $3 to play that.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing, so that's crazy. And you just, if you don't have a prompt, you're just guessing like what to press.
That's one of my bad points. Is it suffers from something of an age bygone. Is that it's arcade difficulty, right?
Yeah.
So it's supposed to be difficult to the point that it eats your quarters and everything. Granted, with the remaster perks, it's a little more accessible, a little easier. But putting myself into those shoes, I probably would have tried this game 3 or something times, not touched it, then seen somebody get to near the end and get to Princess Daphne, and probably would have tried to get to the end.
You're like,
because you got to remember, there's a lot of young boys there, very, very impressionable young boys, and if I had seen that, I would have been like, oh yeah, I gotta get that.
Oh my goodness, you're just like, getting your rocks off at the arcade machine.
Like,
yeah, man.
Also, you mentioned this, but like, this was a bad point for me too. Was like, so I had my very soon to be wife there, and she's like, I really like this, and I'm just like, yeah, you're not stressing out.
Yeah,
I can't watch the game is the thing. I have to react to it, so I see very little tits, and then I'm just like, okay, swing. But like, she's watching it like it's a freaking Don Bluth like comedy skit.
Yeah,
and she said, oh, it was so good. I'm like, yeah, I don't remember a lot of the rooms.
Yep. Yeah. So I'll hitch a ride on this train that you're doing, because I had the same bad point where it was like the game was the thing is it requires you to pay so much attention is that you don't really get to appreciate the art because you're focused on looking at those arrows. You're like you're just zoomed, focused in on these arrows. You're like, okay, I'm ready to press it. I'm ready to press it. I'm ready to press it. And so you don't get to really look at any of the animation in the game, like the beautiful animation in this game. You're just so focused. It's hard, and unless you memorize everything. If you play the game a lot, maybe you're like, okay, like whatever, I can memorize everything, then I can watch everything. But like a first time playthrough, that's not going to happen. Maybe a second time playthrough, that's not going to happen. Probably going to take like 5 playthroughs before you get really comfortable to the point where you're like, I can kind of watch the animations. Which is really a tragedy because the animations are some of the best things about this game. Like, if not the best thing about this game, Yeah,
the animation, humor, the sound effects are really good. The voices are laughable, but they're good. But it's again like I tried. So when I was doing my playthrough, I just did another one last night. But there, you get to the room with the knight, and he's zapping the ground, and Dirk has to jump into some squares. I tried not using the prompts, but watching the screen because it looked really cool. But I wasn't watching the animation so much as I was looking for cues of where to jump. So even then, I still had a hard time appreciating the animation because I wasn't so much as watching as I was looking for ways out.
Yeah. You know what I had to do? I had to actually, so on the remastered version, there's an option at the main menu screen to just watch the animations. Like that's all you do. You just watch each one.
I wanted to do that too. I ran out of time.
So that's what I did. And because I beat the game in like 30 minutes. So I went through the extras and I went to, like the interview with Don Bluth and his buddies, maybe Dyer was there or something.
Yep.
And then there was
Dyer was there.
He was drawing the dragon. He was showing people how to draw the dragon and how to draw Dirk, and that was kind of a cool little thing. And then you could watch all the animations and like you'd see all the death scenes. You'd see and it was. I would say it's more fun to watch too. I would kind of agree in that regard because it's just like it's like a cartoon from the 90s. It's like one of those beautiful hand drawn cartoons that you saw like with Sleeping Beauty is a little old, but like you get into the new ones with like Bible Goes West, like you said, American Tail and Land Before Time, and you just remember this style of art that they had. It was just it's really iconic. If you look at...
I really miss the Don Bluth style. I really wish that he would come back and do like more like hand animated films. Honestly, I'm just starved for hand animated films in general.
There's something about them, It's like Cuphead.
Yeah. It's like, I mean, sure, like, CGI won the animation war and all that stuff, and some of it can look pretty incredible, like the Spider-Verse and stuff, but I'm just like hungry for like hand-drawn animation.
Yeah, I was trying to think
feel
of
that.
like a recent production that was hand drawn, and the last one I think I could think of is like Princess and the Frog. I think was hand drawn. Is that true?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that was a pretty popular Disney film, I would say. Like, and I remember it being pretty good, to be honest. Like, I didn't watch it a lot, but I
I
remember
never saw it.
I watched it and I was like, you know what? This is not a bad film. Like, this is kind of legit. Like, this is kind of fun, like a fun film to watch for me.
I've seen bits of it, but it's the closest classic Disney we have in modern day.
Yeah, and I was so I almost wanted to look up like most popular, most recent hand drawn productions. I feel like there might have been like Cuphead is great. Cuphead's animations are
Cuphead
really
is horrifically difficult, but its animations are so full of love.
Yes.
it's so good, and it reminds me of that style that Don Bluth had, kind of. And it's like it's Cuphead. I like the difficulty of the game, to be honest. I mean that maybe that's a bad take, but I don't mind replaying those bosses because they're great to look like. They're great to look at. And everything is like they're like I remember the flower. His facial animations are getting angry, and it's like you could just tell. It's like I don't even know how to explain how it works, but you can tell there's life in it. Is I guess is like the best way I can say it. You can tell there's like so much life in this art. So
I love it because it's got that old 50s stuff where everything has to continuously move so that you know that it's
more
alive.
like 20s 30s X. That's more like early Disney and Fleischer era.
Yeah,
type
that's
stuff.
what I'm thinking of something else. So.
Yeah,
But I love that. I love that art style, as you can see from my literal Discord picture.
Yeah.
And-
yeah. I think, Lance, you might really enjoy the Dragon's Lair 3D game for the GameCube.
That's new to me.
Because
What is it?
Dragon's Lair 3D.
Yeah. The quick summary. Give me it. What is it?
Okay, so it's Dragon's Lair remade from the ground up as a 3D Zelda game. And it was released on the GameCube. And they had Don Bluth come back and basically create brand new character designs and brand new animated cutscenes. And and that's essentially what it is. Imagine the first Dragon's Lair, but
you struck oil, bud. You don't need to pump. You got me.
Okay. Yeah. And
I'm looking this up.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, it kind of flopped as a game. I mean, it did not sell well at all. I think it was because Ubisoft just did not market it at all. They were the publishers for it.
Oh, 140. Holy crap.
$140 for the original copy.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
A replacement box case is $17. This one's for $70. Oh my. Whatever, it's going in the collection someday.
So do you guys have a favorite death animation in this one? Man,
it's hard. There's so many good ones.
I think one of my favorite ones is when the Lizard King comes up behind
Jared and smacks him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that one a lot too, actually. That's where I was going to go.
I call him the Bonker King. I was like, there's the Bonker King. He's gonna bonk him.
It's funny because I'm playing through it. I'm trying to survive this damn guy, and then at the end, I'm running through some notes with my fiance, and she's just like, my favorite scene was when the lizard guy was chasing you, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not surprised. She's like, it was so funny.
That was a good one. Do I have a favorite? I think the Bonk King is funny because just like his character is like he's like running around and they're doing this little like funny like Scooby Doo type thing where he's like trying to avoid him and he's like chasing. And then when he bonks him, he like drags him away. So that one's funny. What else? What else did I think was funny? I think like I like that falling sequence. Just because of his voice acting was really funny to me.
His like almost Wilhelm scream, right?
Yeah, and I didn't really care much for the strangling ones, like because he just like mostly because you don't really get to hear him when he gets strangled. He's like, bleh, it's like you don't get that funny like reaction. He just kind of gets muffled out. So,
I like the one where he gets run over by the ball.
Oh, okay. Like the Marble Madness.
Yes.
I like that one.
There's if you like some of the death animations in Dragon's Lair, there's a similar type of game that's similar to Dragon's Lair for the PlayStation 1 called Brain Dead 13. It's basically plays like Dragon's Lair, but in its animation style is very much in like the style of like 90s animated cartoons. But it has some very over the top and hilarious death animations. So if you want to play something similar to Dragon's Lair, but something a little bit more 90s, with even more over the top death animations, I would recommend that game as well.
Do I have to play Brain Dead 1 through 12 to understand the story?
Oh, no.
So here's a hard question. If Dragon's Lair was remade today, what would you change in order to like modernize it?
I would say get somebody like Bruce Campbell to voice Dirk the Daring.
Bruce Campbell. What does he do again?
Ash in Evil Dead.
Oh, yes. Okay, yes. Bruce Campbell would probably be a good choice then. You're right. He actually he can. I think he can do that iconic scream that we're talking about. I think he's capable of it. I think he does it in Evil Dead, doesn't he?
Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, a lot of screaming in Evil Dead.
I didn't watch the show, but I've seen
so many Evil Dead. You got to keep in mind, right?
I've seen. I think Army of the Dead was one of my favorite like comedic horror films back in the day. I really liked that one when I was a kid. It was very enjoyable to watch. The original Evil Dead, like the first Evil Dead, was a little spooky. I remember like actually trying to be scary. It's kind of weird because they like made the first Evil Dead try to be scary, and then it's like they made the second one try to be kind of humorous, and then the third one they're like, nah, it's just humor. Like now it's just
humor.
Yeah, now it's just like Army of the Dead's like just funny, and very honestly, it kind of the Dragon Slayer kind of reminds me of that style of humor a little bit, so I can see that. Yeah, what else would we change? What would you change, Wob?
That's a tough one because it's hard to look at something like this and wonder, okay, so to release it today, it would probably be pretty inexpensive to like for a ticket price, right? Like you probably wouldn't sell this for much more than like $15.
Right.
As far because we've covered the continues, like the lives, they already got that covered. I don't know so much about changing voice cast is the thing. What I would do is it would seem it's kind of in its own sense, kind of like a roguelite, roguelike where it's different paths each time.
Okay.
Which is good. They already have the linearity, like the linear choice, which is good. That's tough for me.
Yeah, it's hard. It's a hard question. That's why I kind of prefaced this that I was like, it's kind of hard because it's like, how would you change this game? Because it's really an ancient arcade machine, you know, like it's so different than like what we're used to playing to these days. So like maybe like you're on the right track with the roguelike thing where like, you go through each room and instead of like a reactionary, maybe you could still keep it reactionary, but not solely relying on that, you know?
I think the best way to put it would make it just sounds strange, but not so much a 3D aspect, but the best way that it would be released now today would be more of an interactive story where you still move and can like examine stuff. You still have to respond to things, but it's not so much just press left, press right, swing sword. They'd probably have to make it so that each room you enter, and then you could maybe even backtrack because you're able to move around. But when it comes to engagement, that's when the left, up, left, sword would come into play. Like, I had no idea that the potions were a thing.
Yeah.
Or there's also treasures in the sequel, I think, but I had no idea because there was no prompt, right? It was like, drink me, and I just like walked past it.
Yeah, I saw a death animation where he drinks the potion and then dies. That's not the same, right? Though
I don't know. Maybe it is. It says die in the. There was an achievement for it.
I don't think
it's the kind of game that there's not really a lot of substance to it. It's more. It's more of like a. What's the word I'm looking for? It's not rich with gameplay and features. It's a pretty. Almost a one and done type deal where you'll still go back and try it and everything, but you don't need to 100% it. There's nothing to accumulate. There's nothing to go beyond besides a high score. Cause it unfortunately just suffers from like the arcade syndrome.
Yeah. Yeah. It's more of a, score. What do you call this? Score attack type of games, I guess. If you really wanted to just beat your high score, then you can go back and like die less, you know, but it's once you beat the game, you beat the game. I mean, it's kind of it's about 30 minutes of gameplay, maybe 20, 30 minutes, and then you're kind of through it. So it's more, this game is, I think, popular more or less just because of how iconic it was in the arcade. For with the eating the quarters and the animation thing, beautiful. Everyone wanted to play it, but most people weren't foolish enough to keep playing it.
That's the thing, yeah. It's
But
something that deserves to be in the history books and definitely remembered and looked upon fondly. It's just not really something that really needs to be glorified and redone to a magnificent scope,
Yeah.
I will tell you that Rick Dyer, he actually did eventually get his Secret of the Lost Woods, Lost Forest project kind of off the ground. Eventually, he would make a game that would have a lot of his original concepts and designs and stuff that got discarded for Dragon's Lair into the form of the arcade game Thayer's Quest. So, if you kind of want to see what his original vision was like before Don Bluth took over creative control, you can kind of see it in that arcade game.
Okay, nice. What was the name of it?
It is called Thayer's Quest. It's THAYER Quest.
Okay, so one thing I also want to bring up is the SNES part. What's up with that? It's not even the same game, right?
There's quite a few ports that are not exactly the same game. For example, are you talking about the SNES port or the NES port?
I said yes. I was referring to the SNES. Yeah, I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know there's difference, but
I didn't get a chance to look into many of the ports.
Yeah.
Controversial?
So they say the SNES version is a completely different 2D side-scrolling platformer that plays like Castlevania, more or less. So you got
and then and then the NES port is also like 2D, and it's supposed to be incredibly hard. It super hard
on the NES.
Yeah.
No way.
And also, there was two different releases on the Game Boy. There's one that's called Dragon's Lair: The Legend, and that one is loosely based off of Dragon's Lair. But then there was a Game Boy Color port that is pretty much 1-to-1 with the arcade. They managed to fit all the cutscenes from the arcade and the gameplay of the arcade, and converted it all into pixel graphics. So if you ever want,
I want to get that.
Yeah. So if you ever want to see what Don Bluth's animations look like when it's crunched down to 8 bits, that's the port for you.
It sounds terrible, and I need it in my life.
I don't know how they call these ports. They're like different games.
How did they call Final Fantasy VII Remake a remake?
Yeah. Good question. Sure. I mean, they kind of fixed it in the second part where they call it Rebirth, I suppose, but it's good question.
Final Fantasy VII Redid is the third one.
Yeah, I mean, a remake, I understand that a little bit more than calling something a port, because if you call something a port, you're essentially saying it's the same game. It's like
in
this.
Theory.
Yeah, you're like, this
theory,
is a port. Yeah. And so when, if I went to go buy Dragon's Quest for the SNES, and I'm like, I'm going to play the game that I remember on the arcade, and I plug that bad boy in, and it's like, what am I playing? Like, this is a different game. It's not even close to the same. It's kind of...
the older generations suffer from that a lot, though.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know if I agree with calling it port, but I get it because it has the same... It just has the same name with the same story. That's pretty much it. You go up there. So
yeah, and also technically, Dragon's Lair got a couple of sequels. There's of course the arcade sequel called Time Warp, but there was also a sequel that was made for the Commodore 64 and the I think also the Amiga. And both versions of that it's called Dragon's Lair Part 2: Escape from Singe's Castle. And depending on which release of that you get, is an entirely different game as well. For example, in like for example, in like the 8-bit version, it's the story is different where you're just, you're playing as Dirk and you're returning to the castle to finally reclaim all the gold since you've already rescued the princess. But then like in the 16-bit version of it, it has completely original animation and stuff, and you're having to rescue Princess Daphne again. So it's like, even when you look at like sequels and stuff, it's like entirely different depending on what release you're looking at.
Yeah.
These guys like Jay-Z dropping albums.
Yeah, it's so it's just interesting. Just a thought, food thought. So we mentioned a lot of, I had the good, the bad, and the in-between points, but we kind of mentioned a lot of the stuff I was going to bring up. The good, the animation. I mean, are we all in agreement on that? Like everybody's like,
I think most people.
Oh, yes.
Like I think that's really what drove this game into popularity was Don Bluth and his animation style. That's kind of what did it. Now and then, I put on the bad. I guess I didn't mention this as a bad point, but maybe the game is a little too short. Like it might. I could have done like an extra 15, 20 minutes on it. It could have been double the time, and I've been like, okay, that's good. But it was an arcade game, so. And it was already like gonna eat all your quarters, so I couldn't imagine before back then.
Yeah, it does unfortunately suffer from some crunch time effect, but
yeah, and it
flipped scenes and redoing things.
Exactly, the mirrored thing. It's like, I guess that's okay, whatever. It's fine because it's entertaining to kind of watch the scenes, but yeah, it would have been nice if there's a couple extra scenes in there, maybe like 5 or 10. But I
believe there is actually like some animation cells out there of like some rooms and scenes that didn't make the final cut. I didn't really look into it too much myself, but I have seen it crop up on the internet from time to time that there is like a few like unfinished or unused scenes of animation cells for the first arcade.
Yeah.
For the good, Lance, I'm assuming you have humor written on there.
Yeah, how'd you know? How did you know?
We probably have all the same notes.
We just all the same points. Yeah, I love it. Made me laugh. It made me laugh. When I first loaded up that game and I started dying, I was laughing right off the bat.
I know it's one of those games where like, but I can't because it's not eating our quarters though. We can enjoy like the stupid death scenes and be like, oh my god.
Oh yeah. No, if this was the arcade, I would just been mad. I'd be like,
see, that's the thing. It completely flips the script. Is that if I was in an arcade and I had a $10 allowance a week and I spent $2 on this game to get like 5 however many lives, right? And I died and I got to the game over and I saw him die in a hilarious way, I would probably get more mad than I would find it funny.
Yeah. You'd be like, wait. You probably would have been like, wait, the game started? You probably would have been like, wait, I was actually playing the game because it doesn't even have the arrows back then. Like you're like, I know,
it's crazy.
You're like, I was supposed to press something,
Yeah, so you'd probably die right away at the drawbridge.
Yeah. Luckily with the remaster, it's just like, okay, you're about to fall to the drawbridge. Make sure you press the sword button. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, so that's one of the privileges I guess we got with the newer versions is that we don't have to deal with that. So we can kind of appreciate it, but back then I would have hated it. I'd be like, this game sucks.
Yeah, but props to those guys that did back then, man. Those are some dedicated players.
Yeah, dude. They probably a lot of word of mouth. Like, okay, how did you get past the first like level? Okay, how did you get like? Oh, and they probably wrote down the inputs. Like, okay, it was up, left, attack.
Well,
and
you also keep in mind, at the arcade place, it's a public venue. You're going to have people just hanging around that has either watched other people play or have played themselves, and they're probably wanting to see what it's like at the end too. So they're probably going to be telling whoever comes after them, okay, do this, do that, don't do what I did here, or something like that.
Right. For back then though, if I was sitting in an arcade and it's like I have Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, I have I have this game sitting in front of me, and then I have something like Space Invaders or Defender. I'm gonna play one of those other games. I'm not gonna put my money in this machine. I'm just
going
not.
Tete on some Street Fighter 2.
I would do some Street Fighter. I would do some. I love Defender. I like Joust. I would play Joust over this. I would play Frogger. You know, like I wouldn't play this game. You know, I would try it one time
and watch this game.
Yeah, I would try it one time because I was like, "Wow, the animation's so great. Let's try this out." And then I would die, and I'd be like, "I'm never playing this again."
I'd have no idea what the hell happened.
Yeah, either would I, and I'd just be mad. I'd be like, "Okay, dude, like it would feel super unfair." And I know a lot of the older guys, when I was asking on Reddit, were kind of implying that that's what their experience was when they were a kid, is that it felt just too unfair, you know?
Yeah, this is one of those games that suffers from no hand holding, but it could have used just a tiny bit of hand holding.
Yes.
And I know that there's the flashes sometimes, but like not all the times.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and it for the remaster port, it would have been kind of cool to add some extra buttons you could have pressed, maybe rather than just the 5 or something. I don't know. You know, it was. I had fun though, just simply based on all the death animations and stuff. I enjoyed my time. I enjoyed watching Daphne, not because she was like a sexy model, but because she made me laugh. like she just.
We will get to Daphne.
You know what? Let's talk about Daphne. What you guys? Yeah, let's do it. What did you think about Daphne?
Okay, so playing through the game, and I didn't know what I was looking at first because I thought it was a witch or something, like taunting me because I went into the skeleton room.
Yeah,
and then the second when I died, I came back, I saw, and it's like, save me, and I was like, "There's no way that's the princess." And so I had read the development history about how they got the inspiration for the design of Daphne from Playboy models, from literal Playboy magazines.
Yep.
So when you get to the scene in the dragon's hoard, and she's just like lying there, like floating in the orb, and then she goes, and she makes like the breathiest, like just sexiest noises. It's so over the top. I felt as though Don Bluth had just. They said, "Okay, Don, we love your work with Disney, and we love the stuff that you've done with like your own studio, The Secret of Nim, all this stuff. We're having an idea to make a sexy princess." And he's like, you just you wait. She has nipples. Okay. When I saw her in the animations, I was blown away by how over the top it was. She was like the most sultry, skin tight black dress with the long flowing blonde hair, the breathy voice. I was like, damn. Wow. Dawn, man, you went over the top on this one, dude. And like just the way she moves, and then she does the finger to the lips, and she's like, "You have to get the key from the dragon's neck." And I couldn't take it seriously. I died because I was still laughing.
Yeah,
I almost picked up my phone. I'm like, dude, I got to look up some of this.
So my father said that, you know, back in the day when this was a brand new arcade, he said that there would usually be crowds of people that'd be just watching the arcade just to catch a glimpse of what they call the video babe.
Oh yeah,
the video babe.
Instant simp material for me. I was like, even my fiance sitting next, she's like, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "It's a bit over the top." She's like, "She's so sexy," and I'm just like, "Oh yeah, she is."
Yeah, she's.
I would have been in that crowd.
She's got, and I was even saying that on stream. I was just like, I could see why this game might have been popular. Like I knew it immediately.
Yeah, it's not a bad game by any means, but then you get to that, and I'm just like, this immediately raises it up a point. Immediately.
Yeah. What was the name of the voice actor? It was
Vera something. She was literally head of the cleanup department at the studio at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Like they had a shoestring budget. They just like, okay, we can't afford.
Yeah,
we can't afford any voice actors.
And she actually delayed her honeymoon by a couple of days just so she could just so she would be available to record the lines for Daphne.
Vera Lanfer. Vera Lanfer. But yeah, they just took her and just like, "Hey, we need a voice of a girl. Do you think you can sound sexy?" And she just went way over the top.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Daphne is also the name for one of the very first arcade emulators that came out in the early 2000s.
Downloading.
Oh. Okay, yeah, her name is Vera Lamper Pacheco. So she has 2 last names, I'm guessing through marriage or something.
Yes, because she was getting married then.
Right.
At the time of recording, Vera Lamper.
Right. So I was looking her up, and I think I see her right now. I was kind of hoping she was going to be as attractive as her model.
I don't. I'm gonna be real. I don't know if there's really many people out there that could.
Yeah, right. You always kind of hope. You ever like go up and look up a voice actor, and you're hoping they look a certain way, and they don't.
Yeah.
I do. Like with, for example, mad respect for people like Goku's voice actor. He's super cool, but you're hoping this guy's going to be like a buff, like Super Saiyan looking guy. and he's just not, he's like, he's a nerd, it's like, cool. Yep. I appreciate his work, but it's like, sometimes you're like, oh man, I guess that's all right. That's fine. But,
it's like, you're kind of hoping like, David Hayter would look like Solid Snake, and he just doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. You're like, dude, I want this guy to look like a G.I. Joe, and he's David Hayter. And I don't even want to get on that. I'm sad that David Hayter's not the voice actor anymore. That we're not even going to ride that train right now. But so it was interesting that Daphne was such an attraction because she's such a short part of the game. I mean, the game's short anyways, but she's really only like the last part of the game that she's really in and does these voice lines. And I was laughing just because of the breathiness. We've already kind of like tried to imitate it. I'm not very good at it. And she's for people who doesn't know, like let's just draw an image for people who are just listening and doesn't know what she looks like. She's got long blonde hair, like super long down to like her calf maybe. And she's got like a crown on. She's got a little bandana on. She's got some earrings and then makeup. But then
she has earrings.
Yeah, they're like these little like pink earrings or whatever. Yeah, you're looking at something else.
I didn't notice.
You're not even looking at the earring.
I forgot she had eyes.
Yeah, exactly. What she's got a head. But she's got like a fishnet on, like fishnet. Like clothing, like you would see, like on I don't know, like lingerie, I guess. She's got like this, like that's not fishnet. What do you call that? It's like a
see-through dress.
Yeah, it's kind of like
kinda. It's like a long skin tight. It goes to about her just under her thighs and like splits, but
it's see-through.
I don't even remember if she was wearing shoes or stockings or socks, if I'm being honest, because I was so thrown off by the fact that they animated her with like protruding nipples.
Yes.
I think she has high heel slippers on.
Yeah. Like it's forming in my head, but like I was so thrown off by that because most times, even then, you'd see like a female figure in animation and it'd just be like it'd just be like curved. But they just went straight for full sex symbol on this one. It was outrageous.
Yeah, and it's like everything's see-through except for like she has this little black part of the dress that isn't, and it kind of looks like a bathing suit like a sexy bathing suit you might see, where it's like split in the middle. Obviously there's a lot of chest showing, and then like it's like split down kind of like a thong. She's like almost wearing like a thong. And, obviously there's a lot of showing down on her rear end as well. So they try to make her really like super sexy for people, Yeah. She's not nude, it's not like, you don't see like her privates, but she's, she's getting there. She's getting there. It's not, it doesn't take much imagination to think.
She does not leave much to the imagination is the thing.
Exactly.
They saw the line and they're like, let's tiptoe right on this friggin' thing.
Compared to Dirk, who is like fully clothed. I mean, he's fully clothed. He's in knight armor. He's got a little. He's got this little knight helmet, and he's like, he's kind of athletic looking guy, and he's you can imagine him just based on what we're saying. It's like pretty basic stuff, but he's kind of not the main character in a way. Like he is by the screaming, but a lot of people wanted to play, I think, for Daphne, dude. And I made the joke. I was like, why would Dirk go through all this crap just to save a princess, and then you see the princess. I was like, okay, you know what?
Yeah.
I
You know,
will.
somebody
Dirk
could do,
Danger, the moment he sees her, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't have made the same choices as he did, but I understand his battle. So
Yep.
You know, somebody should do like the Simpsons meme thing where it's like, you know, do it for her, but it's just like pictures of Princess Daphne.
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's great. So I don't really have any other bad points, good points. Is there anything
I
you
have
guys kind of
one more
want?
mid.
Okay, go ahead.
The one, okay, and it's not it's not throwing shade at anything. It's the voice, the sound effects, those were all great. The one thing that I just don't remember any of is because the engagement of the game is the music. I don't even remember if there was quote music.
There's a few fanfares, and I think
There's little jingles and stuff, but I don't remember like actual like a theme song, any sort of background music, kind of just generic dungeon stuff. So I didn't really say good or bad. It's just I don't really like it. Nothing stood out. There was so much more going on, so much more stimulus that it was like there was music.
Yeah,
I don't remember any. Yeah, I remember the fanfare. It's like a little kind of thing. Like it's but I don't remember any music. So maybe the game's lacking in that department. Any memorable or like maybe any music at all. Like maybe it didn't really have a lot. I don't know if it even had a lot. It's mostly sound effects, you know, like him jumping around and dying and screaming.
Like the sound effects are great, like I said, but it's just there's lacking like any cohesive music track is all it was to me.
Yeah. So, so is there any final thoughts before we get into rating this game?
I really like the arcade game. I think it kind of is impressive in terms of early 80s arcade machines. I mean, think about it. This was really before kind of like 16-bit graphics or anything like that. You know, most arcade machines were just starting to look a little bit better than like things like Asteroids and you know, like some of the other arcades that were out in the early 80s. Yeah. So, I mean, this was probably looked really mind-blowing at the time. Of course, it was a trendsetter. It was one of the first arcades to use Laserdisc technology. It was probably the first game to pretty much have QuickTime events, if you think about it, because pretty much the whole game is a QuickTime event. And it also kind of invented the genre of interactive movies, which is like, as we were talking about earlier, things like Heavy Rain, the Telltale games, and you know, Until Dawn, and other games have continued to kind of push the boundaries of what that genre can do.
Yeah.
I mention it. If this was the beginning of QuickTime events, we owe this game press F to pay respects.
Yes,
and that's like S tier meme material. Yeah.
Some people would say it's the opposite, where it's like we would condemn this game for inventing QuickTime events. I
don't mind them if they're done right.
Exactly. You know, I actually like QTEs for the most part. I think they're fine. You know, there's some in Kingdom Hearts and God of War and stuff. They're really fun.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it.
Yeah. And I don't know how I would have felt about the game if I was playing it in the arcades. I just don't have that as a frame of reference. But as somebody that played it on the Wii port, I really liked it. Not something I would like play all the time. But, you know, it's fun to pop in on occasion, just kind of, see the funny animations and see how far you can get. All in all, I think it is a great game. I thought it was a fun arcade game and a great showcase of Don Bluth and his talent. And I honestly think that there really ought to be a Dragon's Lair movie. And I know that Don Bluth has tried several times to make one, but it has yet to happen.
Yeah, they say that they're working on one, maybe. So that could be exciting. I would watch it, 100%.
Back and forth thing, yeah,
and not just
like
for Daphne.
Community movie,
and just yeah, exactly. It's got kind of a little cult following. You know, it's not like Star Fox or something. But people like remember this game and they appreciate it.
Yeah.
Right?
It's no
there
checks
is a-
quest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is a fan site. I just plopped in the link into the chat here for recording. There's a fan site called Dragon's Lair Fans, and it looks like it's still an active fan site. It still has like an active forum base, and I think they're mostly centered around like preserving the original Laserdisc arcade machines because I know I didn't mention this earlier, but the original Laserdisc arcade machines, they break down really easily and they're hard to repair. And so if you have a working one,
to repair.
yeah. So if you have a working one, it is pretty valuable. And I think some of these people that run this fan site actually take working models of the Dragon's Lair arcade to different like retro conventions and the like. A couple of other things of interesting to note is that Dragon's Lair did for a brief time have a comic book in the early 2000s.
And an animated series too, right?
Yes. Ruby Spears did a animated cartoon that only lasted 13 episodes.
Did we see Daphne?
Yeah, Princess Daphne's in it, but they gave her a more tamer design for the cartoon.
No, unacceptable.
They did. I tried. I watched some of it on stream. It was hard to watch because it's not Don Bluth, right? It's like somebody else animated it.
Yeah, it's Ruby Spears Studios that did the Dragon's Lair cartoon.
Yeah, it's pretty disappointing. It's very mid.
Is it as hard to watch as well? Excuse me, princess.
Yeah, it's on that level. Yeah, it's on that level. I would rather watch that because at least with Zelda, I can I'm like a big fan. So I'd rather watch Excuse Me, Princess.
Yeah. Now the Dragon's Lair comic book. It only lasted a handful of issues, but Don Bluth actually had a hand in that comic book. And apparently, in the early to mid 2000s, Don Bluth also had a Toon Talk newsletter magazine. And he would also have sections in the back of each one of those magazine prints where he would also illustrate comic strips related to Dragon's Lair and its characters too. So if you want more Dirk Daring and Daphne in Bluth in its purest form, I would recommend either getting those comic books or try to track down those Toon Talk magazines.
You had me at Daphne.
He's going to go order all of them on eBay right now. That's funny. Yeah. Any more final thoughts, Wob? Or
I enjoyed it. I did. It's a fun little romp. For my personal rating system, I gave it two separate ones. One being remaster, and then one being the theoretical rating of if I played it in the arcade. Whereas if I was to see it in arcade, it would be more of like a me watching somebody. So it scored a bit lower. It like probably like 4 out of 10 in an arcade setting. But like for the remastered one and all the perks, like personally, I give it like a 7 out of 10. I enjoyed it. It's very nice. It was beautiful to look at. It was funny that the sound effects were good. A little bit repetitive, but like you know what you're getting into. It's a stepping stone. It was innovative. It was impressive for the time. It still is impressive to look back on, especially if you respect video game history. But yeah, I really enjoyed it actually.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I feel that. And what would you rate it, Sonny?
Well, I think just for its innovations alone, I think I would have to rate it pretty high. Like if we're just judging it on like its historical and trend-setting value, I would probably say that it's like like an 8 or a 9. If I'm talking about gameplay, I would say that the visuals and animation really carry it, and so I would say probably closer to like maybe a 6 or 7, depending on how I'm feeling. I think I would definitely rate it on the higher end because I played it packaged with the other 2 arcade games, and when you kind of put all that stuff together, you get a really good package out of it. So
yeah, it kind of makes it more of like one long big thing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So those are both of you guys gave it pretty decent ratings, I would say.
I rounded up. Yeah.
Now, So I'm going to do the arcade versus the home edition as well. I'm going to do that. So with arcade, this is the edition I didn't play it in the arcade, but I'm basing off of like what I imagined I would have felt if I was playing it in the arcade. And the fact that I've already went over a lot of these points, but it would have eaten my quarters. I would have been pissed off. I would have been like, screw this game. I'm not ever playing it again. It would have hypnotized me and like drawn me in. Like, wow, look at these graphics. I would have put those quarters in and like, this is the worst game ever. So, I would probably give it like a 2 in the arcade. Like, because you can't really appreciate the art style if you don't get to play the game. It's like you're just dying. And then it's like, okay, and then you never get to experience. So it's like a 2 because you don't really get to experience the game unless you're going to drain your bank account of all its money back then. But now,
hey, that's no different than people giving money to the Daphnes of today either.
Oh yeah.
Well, that's Sonny. That was amazing.
yeah.
That was really good.
That's a good point. And I would also
today. Oh wow!
I would also give that a 1 or 2 of the Daphnes of today. So we're on the same page here. Now, as far as the at-home edition, where I can just play it, and I'm not, I pay a one-time fee to play it as many times as I want, and I don't have to reset the game. It gets a lot better of a score. I think really where almost all the points come from, though, is the animation. And really not really the gameplay at all. I would say like the gameplay is very low as far as like actual gameplay. I would say it's good that there was gameplay because I did enjoy dying because it made me laugh knowing that I sucked, but it would probably be based, and this is mostly animation points, like a 6.5. And I attribute.
I got to about there. I rounded up though, just because of Daphne.
Just because of Daphne. If you're going for Daphne, you could be a 7. It's but yeah, 6.5, and I attribute almost all of those points to Don Bluth. Like he's kind of really what made this game. He's kind of the guy. He's kind of the dude who made it possible. And without him, this game wouldn't have been anything, I don't think. So
no, we can't lie about that. We can't pretend. Without Don Bluth, this game would have just died in obscurity.
Yeah, and then people are like, yeah, what game? What are you talking about? Dragon Slayer? So yeah, 6.5. Thanks Don Bluth for putting it on the map. Thanks for making an arcade babe for people to want to play more, and get to the last scene, I guess. And hear her say, "You have to slay the dragon," like however she says it. Yeah, but I had fun. I laughed, and the reason it doesn't get a lower score is because I laughed, man. I had fun playing it. It's short. It's not a game that you would want to pay a lot of money for. It needs to be at a reasonable price. But if you want a couple giggles and you're like you want to see an arcade babe, yeah, sure, great. It's a great game and. Hearing Dirk scream is it doesn't get old, it's a great time.
No.
So
and I definitely recommend giving some of the other ports or sequels a try. They do actually improve the gameplay on both Space Ace and Dragon Slayer 2. In fact, Space Ace in particular is pretty complex in terms of its gameplay because basically. Don't want to spoil too much in case you do play it, but essentially almost every scene has an alternative version, whether or not you're playing the dorky version of the character or the heroic version of the character.
Yeah, it's like I when I beat this again last night, I literally thought to myself, I'm glad I got the trilogy because I want to play through the other ones.
Yeah, same. I actually do want to play through the other ones. So based on that, would you guys say the game should people reload the game? And we'll start with you, Wob.
Reload it, I would say, if you're interested in these sort of things. It's kind of niche. If you love Don Bluth animation, you're going to look it up. You'll probably just watch a playthrough. If you're a retro enthusiast, you're probably going to be like, oh, Dragon's Lair. And you're going to want to go back and take a look at Daphne. She gets an 80,085 out of 10. That spells boobs.
And then, Sonny, would you recommend people reload the game?
Yes, I would definitely recommend reloading the game. I would also recommend playing the game at least once. Because sure, you can watch it and definitely appreciate the animation, but to actually play through it, it is quite the experience. Yeah, you might have a little bit of frustration with it, but I was having a good time all the way through, even when I died. So I would definitely recommend playing it once just to kind of get the feel for how it actually feels playing it, because at least for me, it was pretty smooth between the button inputs and the actual animation playing through. I would also recommend reloading it for its historical value, for it, like I said, the trends it started, or at least would later on inspire, because some of those other trends didn't really pick up until decades later, but still, yeah, I would definitely recommend reloading it.
Yeah. So I would recommend reloading it based on the price that you get it at. So I paid $10 for the trilogy, and that is the most I would have paid for it. I wouldn't have paid any more. I wouldn't have paid any more than that. I think I got it on sale. I think the game is normally $20 for the trilogy. Based on that price tag, I would say no. I would say don't reload the game. If you get it on sale like I did with the trilogy, $10, it's worth it. It's worth it. It's worth getting those laughs and those, otherwise I would say do what Wob said and just go view the animations to appreciate it. Yeah, it's not worth a lot of money because it's not a long game. It's really short. You're not going to get a lot of value out of it. Other than that, unless you're a nostalgia buff and you remember this game from the arcade back in the day, and you're just like, I really want to see this again, and I really want to have a nostalgia hit. For me, it wasn't a nostalgia hit because I never had played it before. I didn't even know about it really, other than maybe a few pictures I saw online, like in the previous years. So
pop culture references, yeah,
exactly. So that's kind of maybe that's a cop out saying based on the price, but yeah, I would say it's completely based on what you get the price at. For the sale price of $10, worth. Any more than that, no. Don't reload it. It's not
a lot of substance to the game.
Yeah, don't reload it. So we got the riddle for next week's game. I'm pretty sure Sonny already knows what it is, so Sonny won't guess unless nobody can guess it. I think you're going to know what it is, Wob, too. So maybe you might want to give the audience like some time to guess it.
I mean, I guessed all but Vandal Hearts.
This one you're 100% probably going to guess then. So it's.
I even guessed Comics Zone, Lance.
I know. I don't know how that was pretty impressive, dude. I was impressed with that one. So this one is Cloaked in Crimson, Guns, Barrels 3, Shadows Awaken. You already know the first line. Don't say. Okay, Cloaked in Crimson, Guns, Barrel 3, Shadows Awaken, Chaos Set Free. Bullets blaze through deep ground's might. Oh man, this last line is going to give it away, so I'm not going to even say it. This line I didn't write. Yeah, lament in blah 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 night. That's what I'll say, because otherwise it's going to give it away. Yeah. So you guys both already know what it is. This is a game I have never played. This is a game that I think it got kind of some conflicting. Upon release, it got some conflicting reviews. It was received in different ways. Some people really loved it and thought it was great, but some people thought it was kind of like a step away from the original formula, so they weren't too happy with it.
That's the thing, is that if you go into this one and you're thinking that it's going to be a continuation of the previous stuff, you don't really enjoy it too much. If you're trying to consume all the media for the series, you have a much better time.
Yeah. And
I've played this a few times, and I still every year or so go back and just do a run through.
A little hint for the audience: it was released in 2006 for the PS2, and if you don't got it, then
only for the PS2, no ports, no nothing.
And that's actually surprising. And then this is going to be a big hint. It was developed by Square Enix, so I'm pretty sure. Well, I'm pretty sure. So we'll just say it now. So the game is Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy VII. Mm-hmm. So I think what threw people off with this game, I haven't played it, and we're not going to go too much into it, but it's a third-person type shooter, right? Am I right?
On rails.
Yes.
Fairly on rails, a little bit open.
And so the original Final Fantasy VII game was a turn-based game. It was made by Square Enix, and it's all about Cloud's story and what he goes through. This game's about, it's like I think it comes after the events of Final Fantasy VII.
After Advent Children.
After Advent Children. So we're talking
2 years after 7 is Advent, 1 year after that is Dirge.
Okay. And so people were like, what, what? This isn't a turn-based game, and this is kind of the issue that people had with like Final Fantasy 12 when it first came out. And even though Final Fantasy 12 was a QTE game not QuickTime event, it was an ATB action time. What are they? Action time? It's like
time battle.
Yeah, where the bars fill up and you take your turn. So, people when you change the formula, and I've said this on a lot of episodes, when you change the formula of something old, people have a hard time adjusting. But I think nowadays people kind of appreciate this game more. I'm interested if it's actually good gameplay. I love Final Fantasy VII, as everybody probably already knows. So I'm really interested in playing this game. I just hope the gameplay's good. I just really do. So we'll find out on next week's episode of Dragon Ball Z. Retro Reloaded. So yeah, thank you guys for. You want to say something, Sonny?
Yeah. No. I was just going to say is if you guys that do check out Dragon's Lair, if you find that you don't really like it in its original arcade form, I would definitely recommend trying out one of the ports, or at least Dragon's Lair 3D.
Okay, great. So you guys both have some socials. What are your socials, Sonny, that you would like to plug?
Okay, I have a YouTube channel called SummersetBanjo. I have, of course, a Twitter called SummersetBanjo, and I also have just launched a Ko-fi which is also under my SummersetBanjo handle. So that way, if people want to support my efforts, making videos and other forms of content, they can.
Great. Awesome. Yeah. I think I followed you on Ko-fi or whatever. And then I got you followed on your other stuff. So yeah, go check out Somerset. He does a lot of cool stuff. He does a lot of stuff related to Star Fox. He's making some Star Fox comics, which is super exciting. He's a big fan. And he's a pretty regular guest on the show. So go check him out. Support him, guys. And then Wob, what do we got for you?
It can be mostly found here on Retro Reloaded, but in due time, there will be a lot more. As of right now, though, 2 weeks away from the wedding, so we'll get all that out of the way with, and then my buddy in the Discord, Paladin Roy, him and I have some pretty big plans.
I'm excited. You've kind of told me so, and I won't spoil anything. You kind of told me a little bit about what you might be doing, and I'm excited. I'm excited to support your stuff that you got going on. So when that does come out, we'll definitely give you a shout out, because Wob is a regular guest, and he helps out in the Discord. He's a mod there. He's helped me ban a couple of baddies, and he's always willing to do some voice work, and help out in any way he can. So I appreciate.
I love talking.
I love talking. If I can talk, then I'm doing it. Yeah, awesome. So thank you guys.
Thanks for having us, Lance.
Yeah.
One thing I forgot to mention before closing the episode is that this was submitted by Tetra Folly on the Retro roster. If you guys want to submit a game for Retro Reloaded, all you have to do is go onto the Patreon. You do I think it's like the 16-bit tier, and you can submit your own game that you want to see me play on stream, and then do a Retro Reloaded podcast episode on. So thank you again, Tetra Folly. You've submitted several games, and you've been a regular supporter. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you, everyone, for your support. And it was a great time. Awesome. Well, folks, that's game over for this episode of Retro Reloaded. Thanks for joining me on this retro adventure. If you loved today's trip down memory lane, then consider helping me keep the nostalgia alive by supporting me on Patreon at patreon.com/retro reloaded. You'll get early episodes, bonus content, and a chance to pick the next game that we reload. Feel free to let me know your thoughts about the podcast, and until next time, keep those controllers charged.